Welcome to Darwin, here at the top end of Australia. Directly behind me is the Darwin Waterfront Precinct, built as a man-made lagoon as it's too dangerous to swim in the actual water due to jellyfish and crocodiles. Today we'll be flying with Air North to Alice Springs via Katherine and Tennant Creek on board an Embraer E120. Located in the heart of the city, along the coastline of the Timor Sea, Darwin's Waterfront Precinct is a popular and vibrant area which has undergone significant redevelopment in recent years, transforming it into a hub for entertainment, dining and recreation. Darwin is one of Australia's most unique capital cities, as the vibe in this city is very much different than say Sydney or Melbourne, being much hotter, wetter, smaller and a lot more culturally diverse. Having an approximate population of around 130,000 people spread across 3,000 squared kilometres, this figure makes Darwin the smallest capital city in the country, which is very much evident by the sparseness of everything. This morning I got up nice and early in order to prepare myself for this morning's flight to Alice Springs with Air North. I caught a ride with Uber as it's the easiest way to get to the airport. Public transport takes too long, as I found out the hard way, and taxi rides are far too expensive. Darwin Airport has only one terminal. This makes international travel quite interesting. In my findings, international passengers check in as a domestic passenger, clearing security as normal and then entering a special area afterwards. It's kinda weird and I'd very much like to check it out one day. Upon entering the building, I turned left, heading to the Air North check-in, which has multiple dedicated check-in desks. There are also self-service kiosks available. However, they are unavailable to those who aren't travelling on Qantas, Virgin Australia, Jetstar or Bonza. Once I had dropped off my bag and received my boarding pass, I proceeded to security. Security here at Darwin is located on the left-hand side of the building, adjacent to the Nexus Airlines check-in desk. And this morning it wasn't busy, but it certainly wasn't quiet either. Once I had cleared security, I made my way upstairs to find a quiet spot to rest before my flight. Upstairs is a fairly small area with gates spread across the entire length of the terminal, with 3 restaurants being available, but none were open at this time of the day. Generally speaking, if you're flying on a turboprop aircraft here, more often than not, you'll be departing out of gates 1 and 2. However, every now and then you do get the occasional departure from gate 3, or in today's case an Embraer 120 departing from gate 5, which is quite rare. Soon the pre-boarding call was made, and I proceeded downstairs to the gate. Boarding for today's flight commenced at Gate 1, which is located directly outside of the security checkpoint. Whilst waiting for the other passengers to accumulate outside, I noticed our aircraft waiting on stand, which today is an Embraer E120 ER Brasilia, registered as Victor Hotel Alpha November Quebec. She's had a very long and extensive life, being built and delivered brand new initially to United Express as November 277 Uniform Echo in 1988, then flying for Flight West in 1997 as Victor Hotel X-Ray Foxtrot Hotel, then onwards to Air Fiji in 1999 as Delta Quebec Mike Uniform Mike, then Regional Pacific Airlines in 2006 as Victor Hotel Romeo Papa Alpha, then onwards to Network Aviation in 2011 under Victor Hotel Tango Foxtrot X-Ray, and then finally to Air North in 2014 under her current registration. Air North's Embraer 120s are fitted with an all-economy class layout, with 30 seats in a 1-2 configuration. Upon stepping foot on board, I was greeted by the lovely crew member and was guided 3 feet to my seat, to which this morning I shall be seated in 2 Alpha. The bulkhead economy class seat has 31 inches of pitch and 17 inches of width. In the seat pocket you'll find a safety card, air sickness bag, a swine fever alert card, and interestingly a Know Your Toads card. Above are individual reading lights, air vents, and a flight attendant call button. Soon the door closed and the engines fired up.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard airline flight TL250. In a few moments, I'll be demonstrating the safety features aboard this aircraft, so please listen carefully.
As I was sitting in my seat, I began to wonder why we weren't taxiing after the engines had started approximately 7 minutes ago. This was until this delightful announcement was made.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the inconvenience now. We need to shut down as there's an issue with the aircraft that the engineers need to rectify. So we're going to shut down both engines. We're going to get you to disembark. The engineers are going to come and fix the issue, and then we'll get going for Katherine to North. Apologies for the slight delay.
Thanks guys for being safe. This is fun. Ah, great story. Didn't expect to be back here.
Feeling high levels of deja vu, I made my way back downstairs to the gate, as boarding had been just called again at the exact same gate. Stepping back outside onto the apron and out to the exact same aircraft, I was overhearing from a fellow passenger behind me that she was a little nervous about flying on a quote, broken plane. Which, honestly, it wasn't the best thing to hear, but my trust in the engineers remains absolute. Climbing back on board the same aircraft, I took a seat and buckled up. Soon the door was closed by the flight attendant and the engines started up again.
License in airplane mode, your tray cable's up, your windows open, and your seatbelt's fastened throughout takeoff. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Taxied to runway 11 via Bravo 2. Now please enjoy this unedited takeoff. takeoff, we turned right, setting a southerly course over the suburb of Palmerston towards Katherine. Flight time for the first leg is 40 minutes, covering a distance of 178 miles or 286 kilometers, cruising at 19,000 feet. Once airborne, the flight proceeded very quickly, and I was handed a small bottle of water. As we flew south towards Katherine, we passed directly over the windy Adelaide River, which this specific river is host to around 80,000 saltwater crocodiles, this being the largest population in Australia. After which, I was handed the first of 3 snacks today. As this flight was early morning, I was given a slice of banana bread, which wasn't too sweet nor too oily. Soon we commenced our descent into Katherine. As we flew over the breathtakingly beautiful Mount Todd, I was glued to the window watching as the unique landscape was passing below. I would personally say that the land in Katherine is basically the same as Darwin. However, being nearly 200 kilometers away from the city, this area is much more rural and feels vastly different. Now please enjoy this unedited landing. After landing, we taxied back to the passenger terminal via Bravo, Sierra, Romeo, Alpha, Foxtrot and Echo. To those with a good eye, you may have noticed during landing we passed by 2 aircraft, which we passed by these very aircraft whilst crossing the active runway. These aircraft are 2 F-35 Lightning IIs, which are the Royal Australian Air Force's newest jets. I'll explain a bit more in a minute, but for now we pulled into the passenger terminal 1 hour and 12 minutes behind schedule. Katherine is a regional town located in the Northern Territory, approximately 300 kilometers southeast of Darwin. Renowned for its natural wonders and cultural significance, the town serves as a gateway to the breathtaking Katherine Gorge, which is one of the many series of gorges carved out by the Katherine River. It attracts many visitors with its breathtaking landscape and offers opportunities for various outdoor activities. The airport we just landed at, Katherine Tyndall Airport, is not only a civilian airport including charter flights, but is also a Royal Australian Air Force base, home to No. 75 Squadron, which is one of the 2 locations where the Aussie F-35s call home. Unfortunately, we won't be visiting the gorge or the base today. Instead, we have to continue onwards to our next stop. After a few passengers boarded, the door was closed and the engines fired up 1 hour and 11 minutes late.
Once outside the aircraft, inflate the life jacket. To inflate the jacket, pull down firmly on the red toggles. There are mouthpieces for further electronic cigarettes. Smoking is prohibited on board this aircraft, including the toilets. In the event of an emergency, the captain will instruct you to brace before landing. It is imperative that you are permitted your attention. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the great Air North service.
We taxied to runway 14 via Echo. Whilst waiting to depart, the two F-35s lined up and rocketed down the runway, replacing the drone of our engines with the roar of their afterburners. Now please enjoy this unedited takeoff. After takeoff, we turned left and right over the farms below, setting a southerly course towards Tennant Creek. Flight time for the second leg is 1 hour and 20 minutes, covering a distance of 380 miles or 611 kilometers, cruising at 19,000 feet. Upon reaching cruising altitude, we passed over a couple of buildings along the Larimer Western Creek. These buildings lay in the Sturt Plateau, a vast and empty stretch of land in the center of the Northern Territory. Around 1/3 of the way into the flight, the lone cabin crew member conducted the second in-flight service, to which initially I was given another bottle of water, and this time I was handed a pack of Arnott's biscuits and a slice of Bega cheese. Which, how can you go wrong? It's cheese and crackers. Maybe if I had a cup of wine and some dates or olives, this would be a complete meal, but I can accept the catering isn't completely full. Later, we passed by the fairly large town of Elliott, which sits along the Sturt Highway. We also passed over another small town just prior to descent. This time, it was Pamayu. Soon we commenced our descent into Tennant Creek. As we fell back to Earth, the details down below became more and more visible, being dominated by low-lying shrubs, spinifex grass and scattered eucalyptus trees, as well as rocky hills and low-level grass fields. Now please enjoy this unedited landing. After landing, we taxied back to the terminal via runway 25, runway 11 and Bravo. We pulled into gate 3 1 hour and 13 minutes behind schedule. Tennant Creek is one of the larger towns in the Northern Territory, located approximately halfway between Darwin and Alice Springs. This town is renowned for the high levels of gold and copper in the ground. Other than its rich mining history, the town itself is located on traditional Aboriginal land, and its surroundings have been a vital part of the cultural and historical identity for thousands of years. This town, and every other town in the Northern Territory, has a very immersive and high level of respect for the Aboriginal people, as in my findings the Northern Territory has the largest Aboriginal population in the country. Unfortunately, we won't be visiting the town today. Instead, we have to continue onwards to our next stop. For the final leg, I was told I could move to any seat I'd like. I selected 10 Alpha, the last row on the left-hand side. Soon the engines fired up one last time today, an hour and 15 minutes behind schedule. We taxied to runway 7 via Bravo, runway 29 and runway 25. Now please enjoy this unedited takeoff. After takeoff, we turned due south to set course for Alice Springs. Flight time for the final leg is 1 hour and 5 minutes, covering a distance of 297 miles or 477 kilometers, cruising at 24,000 feet. Interestingly, the seats back here are different than the front. The rear economy class seat has 32 inches of pitch and 17 inches of width. There is a standard tray table that folds down but doesn't extend. In the seat pocket is the same as the front, with a safety card, alert cards and an air sickness bag. Above are the same individual air vents, reading lights and a flight attendant call button. For the final leg, we were served actual lunch. I was given a bottle of water and a chicken and honey mustard sandwich, as well as a cup of coffee. The sandwich was very moist and tasty. I couldn't really taste the chicken, as the honey mustard was very strong. On board the aircraft is a single lavatory with everything you'd typically expect to find for short-leg flights. However, this aircraft does not have a sink, so only hand sanitizer is available. There is actually a window view with a spectacular view of the fuselage. My personal recommendation is to not use this bathroom unless it's an actual emergency. Soon we commenced our descent into Alice Springs. Despite its harsh conditions, the landscape surrounding Alice Springs is absolutely stunning, with the iron-rich sand littering the ground below. Eventually, the town of Alice Springs came into view as the flaps and gear were lowered. If you ever fly into Alice Springs from the north, I recommend sitting on the left-hand side, as you get a great view of the city, Jessie Gap, and the airport itself. Now please enjoy this final unedited landing of the day. After landing, we taxied back to the terminal via Echo and Alpha. We pulled into Gate 3, 1 hour and 19 minutes behind schedule. As I stepped off the aircraft, not knowing the future fate of this aircraft, I made my way towards the terminal. Primarily focusing on serving regional and remote communities, Air North is a vital link to the Northern Territory, providing essential air connectivity to not only the smaller communities but to destinations spread across the other states, and to Dili in Timor Leste. Personally, I find flying on Air North to be a bit more on the expensive side. However, every now and then you get a fairly decent price when they're discounted. The service on board was typical of what I've come to expect for MILKRUN flights, to which I have done 2 in the past. Getting to fly to Katherine gave me a very rare opportunity to see the F-35s at work, and flying from Tennant Creek to Alice, the aircraft was basically empty, giving me full reign over the entire aircraft. I even had a 30-minute conversation with a low cabin crew member, who, despite at first being a little distant due to my camera, she became very fascinated at what I do, and I hope she is watching this video, like she said she would. This flight is not one I will forget easily, as the crew, the incident at Darwin, and the stunning scenery outside has left a lasting impression on me. This is one route I probably won't fly again in the near future, but I am keen to fly to these airports just to experience the towns and the history of this amazing land that I call home. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment and subscribe. Make sure to push that notification bell if you enjoy my content, as I post new videos every Friday at 8 PM Sydney time. Also, don't forget to check out my Discord server, link at the top of the description. And I hope to see you again in the next one. See you later!